I was in the kitchen, preparing dinner for my family of 6. When the doorbell rang, my heart tightened slightly at who could be at the door at that moment. The excitement that once accompanied his arrival was long gone, replaced only by displeasure and resentment. I exhaled and continued with what I was doing. Shortly I heard excited voices bubbling in the living room. "Good evening, Dad," my eldest son greeted happily. "Good evening, my boy," Thomas replied with the same energy. "Where are your siblings?" "Right here, Dad," my daughter Chili replied. I could hear her and the rest of the kids racing down the stairs to greet their dad, who apparently went missing in action for 3 weeks now. Under the guy's business trip, I sighed. I had warned them countless times to stop running on the staircase. I made a mental note to scold them later. "Good evening, Dad. Welcome home, Dad." From their voices you would know they were all excited to see their dad again. "I missed you, Dad." "How was your business trip?" my daughter asked him. "Ha," I sneered. "Your dad went for woman enjoyment and empowerment trip," I said in my mind. "Who is this auntie?" my daughter asked in her sweet voice. My ears perked up immediately as I frowned. Someone had come home with Thomas. Who could that be? I quickly lowered the gas and rushed to the parlor to see who it was that came back with Thomas. "Good evening, Thomas," I greeted in a less enthusiastic voice as I entered the living room. Just then my eyes met with another pair that has been a thorn in my flesh for some months now. My blood pressure rose up immediately. What is Thomas's mistress doing inside my home? Has it gotten to bringing his mistresses to our home? "What is the meaning of this, Thomas?" I furiously asked him. "Haven't you disrespected me enough? Why would you bring your mistress here? We have children here," I snapped, anger boiling inside me. I turned to the woman beside him and lashed out. "Why are you hell-bent on destroying my marriage, Olivia, or whatever you call yourself? Leave right now, else you regret it. I am warning you nicely now. She is not leaving and she's not a mistress." My husband snapped, cutting me off. "Olivia is pregnant with my son, and she is now my wife because I have already paid her dowry with my kinsman." Thomas announced it like it's something normal, something to be proud of. Last time I checked, Thomas identifies as a Christian. His father is married to only one wife who is also my mom-in-law. So who are the kinsmen that went with him since my father-in-law is still alive? I couldn't believe my ears. I felt like my world had caved in. How dare Thomas say this to me after everything we have been through? I lost my cool and lunged at the both of them. "Have you no shame?" I yelled at the both of them. Turning to Olivia, I said, "I have warned you to leave my husband alone. How dare you come in here? Are you out of your mind? You will not enter this house. Homebreaker. Mommy. Mommy." For a moment I had forgotten that my children were also in the living room. This was the first time I have ever lost control in front of them. Anytime Thomas and I quarreled, I made sure the children were not involved. "Look at what you are doing in front of our children," Thomas berated me. "Let me make this clear. This is my house. I built it with my money, so I have the right to bring in whoever I want." "Dream on," I replied in anger. "You built this house with your money. Have you forgotten I also contributed to the building of this house? This is also my house. I insist she won't come in here," I said with finality. "Who says so?" Olivia interjected. Now the bee has the audacity to speak. "I am also his wife, so I am entitled to live here." "The house you are entitled to is the one. You built with him, not the one." "I built with him," I argued. At this moment I have reached my limit. "Get out right now," I shouted and pointed towards the door. My son and daughter were old enough to understand what was going on. I saw as they looked at their dad with resentment and tears in their eyes. My heart ached at the sight of this. I watched as the perfect family picture I have painted in front of my children crashed within few minutes. "Duke, Take your siblings upstairs and stay in your room, I said to my eldest son. I didn't want them witnessing any more of this madness. My son hesitated a little before going upstairs with his siblings. I waited for them to enter their room before continuing from where I stopped. Do you see how you are disrespecting me in front of our children? This is Africa, he shouted. I am entitled to as many women that I want as long as I can afford it. As long as you can afford it? I laughed bitterly. So this is how you repay me, after sticking with you through thick and thin. Did you give birth to me? Thomas retorted. I shook my head in disbelief. So it was true. You never really know a man's true color until he becomes rich. Then go and build another house for her and live there with her, I yelled. The name on the house is mine and I am the head of this family, Thomas declared. Move your things to another room. Also, the children will move to one room so that Olivia can stay there, he announced. I looked at Thomas and felt he was a different person. How did I not see this side of him before? I regretted contributing my money to build this house. From the determined look on his face, I could tell that. I am fighting an already losing battle. I am a 37-year-old woman with 4 children. How do I start competing with a girl who is probably 26 or 27? For a fleeting second, I wished I had a peace. I would have ended it for the both of us, but force is not the answer to problems. It will rather make matters worse. I'm not that kind of person. I also have my children to take care of. I picked up my phone and called my in-laws. I was very convinced they would be on my side. When my mother-in-law picked the phone, I narrated everything that happened. But to my surprise, she calmly told me she was aware of everything. That means Thomas was telling the truth. I felt used and betrayed. I remembered when I used my money to take care of Mama's hospital bills because her son couldn't afford it. I remembered how this same woman showered me with blessing, thanking me for marrying into their home. Now, she is singing a different tune because she feels that her son has made it in life. I listened in shock as she talked on the phone. Kate, I know you are feeling bad about it, but the girl is already pregnant with Thomas's child. We can't allow the child to be born out of wedlock. Just try and accommodate them. I quietly disconnected the phone. I sat quietly as I weigh my options if I decide to leave. Thomas and his family might not allow me to leave with the children, according to our tradition. I dreaded leaving them to live with Olivia or any of my husband's family members. So I decided to stay back since Duke is 13. It's just a few more years before he turns 18, then I can move out. That night I slept in my children's room. I cried throughout the night. I remembered how Thomas and I started. He was living in a 2-bedroom apartment then. We had a humble beginning. Now that things are beginning to turn around for good, he suddenly wants a second wife. The next day I packed out of our matrimonial room and moved into my children's room. I might not have a husband that loves me anymore. I had children that loves and adores me. I decided to face my children. They are the most important. The subsequent weeks were filled with more drama. Thomas and his new wife were all over the place with their public display of affection. He asked my children to call Olivia Mummy Olivia, but my children refused. Olivia stopped at nothing to show off to me. From her body language, anyone with common sense could tell that she was mocking me. After all, I had once gone to her house to warn her to leave my husband alone. Now she is in my house sleeping in my room, and I can't even do anything about it. Some evenings they will come home with lots of goodies. This is the treatment that Thomas never gave me when we were newly married. Back then you couldn't tell the difference between him and a church rat. Now I finally agree with the slogan, "Who good girl helps." I will not raise my daughter to be a meek woman. Men always thinks it's okay to walk all over them. Thomas lavished our money on Olivia, buying her designer bags, shoes and clothes. I watched jealously as Olivia flaunted all the goodies like a proud peacock. These were things Thomas never gave me. Of course he didn't give me, because I never demanded for them. I thought we were on the same team. I regretted building a life with him. The house. The business. I became so bitter that I found myself secretly praying for his downfall. As time passed, Olivia's stomach grew bigger. 6 months later, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Of course, her peacock spirit intensified. She became even more daring, constantly stirring up unnecessary troubles and accusing my children of one crime or the other. Our house became a one-day one-trouble arena. The funny part is that Thomas always sided with her, even against his own children, especially Duke and Chile, who are my eldest children. My children began to resent their father. She even tried to turn them to her house helps, but I put my foot down. I didn't enjoy that kind luxury when I married Thomas newly. If she wants a maid, she had better get herself one. I guess she eventually asked her mom to get her a help, because the woman came with a little girl, as well as a full bag of trouble as she came to visit, after Olivia had put to bed. My children and I moved down to the 2 guest rooms downstairs. Thank God that each room had its own bathroom. I couldn't imagine sharing one with those troublemakers. Sharing kitchen with them was enough trouble. I tried my best to stay out of their way. In the morning, I would prepare breakfast and lunch, while my children got ready for school. After dropping them off at their schools, I headed straight to my shop where I sold bags and jewelries. In the afternoons, I picked them up from school and stayed with them until I closed in the evenings. This was how we lived, and my husband never cared. Some nights I will cry myself to sleep. However, every disadvantage comes with a hidden advantage. You just have to open your eyes to see it. Since Thomas now preferred his new wife's food over mine, I stopped worrying about his meal and his personal stuff. I focused entirely on my business and my children. My children were old enough to take care of themselves to some extent. I channeled my energy into growing my business. I also started a foodstuff delivery business, which did even better than the bag business. I wondered why I never thought of it sooner. Time flew by and 4 years passed in a jiffy. We had all adjusted to our new reality. Soon Auntie's second wife became pregnant again and gave birth to another baby boy. But this time, things were different. Her body began to change. The extra hips, the flabby arms, the protruding belly, the constant cries of children filled the house, scattered house and so on. I watched as she struggled to keep up with their energy. She began to look more and more like me when my children were little. One more thing, she looked more haggard. Thomas began to keep late nights again. I watched as they quarreled almost every night. Thomas, what is the meaning of this? You left since morning only to come back this late. What is your problem? I listened as Olivia scolded Thomas. I couldn't help but laugh. Fantastic. What goes around comes around. I laughed as I took a trip down memory lane. I remembered how Thomas will keep late nights, leaving me and the children. I had to juggle taking care of the children, the house, and also my shop. I almost ran mad. This is just the beginning, honey, I mused in myself. I listened as Thomas tried to comfort her, claiming he has 1 or 2 business meetings. Ooh, the usual business meetings. I laughed again and went back to what I was doing. With time, their quarrels intensified. One night I heard some commotion. My children and I ran out of the room and witnessed Thomas using Olivia as a punching bag, while shouting at her, "How dare you raise your hand at me? I will teach you a lesson today." I quickly dashed back to the room, grabbed my phone, and started recording just in case someone gets a one-way ticket to heaven. There will be enough evidence for police case. My son, whom I raised well, wanted to play hero and separate them, but I held him back. This is couples fight. Don't involve yourself, I whispered to him. What kinsmen have put together no man should put asunder, thought to myself as I watched in glee. As Thomas and Olivia turned the house to a mini coliseum. By the time their kickboxing match ended, Olivia's face was swollen like puff puff. Indeed, second wives are commotions. Thomas and I had never gone physical, but Olivia has somehow managed to bring out the beast in him. My children and I went back to the room after watching the free cinema. For the first time in 4.5 years since the commotion came to our house. I laughed so hard. After that night, their fights became regular. Olivia started accusing our husband of sleeping with different women. I also heard she even went about town fighting Thomas's mistresses. Then one evening I received a call asking me to come to the hospital that Thomas had met with an accident and is seriously wounded. As a human, I panicked, though we are no longer in good terms. He is still my children's father. So I was worried. I packed up my things, left my children at home and rushed to the hospital. When I came, the nurses directed me to E, where I saw Thomas, covered in red. Seeing him in that state, I was shocked. There was a piece of a broken bottle stuck to the left side of his neck. He could not even talk. I looked around but didn't see Olivia. I asked the nurses, what happened? Apparently, Olivia tracked Thomas to a bar, where he was drinking with his latest catch. A fight broke out. In a fit of rage, Olivia broke a bottle and tried to hurt the girl. The girl ran behind Thomas while he was trying to separate them. Olivia accidentally jabbed him instead. Now she was at the police station. I didn't know whether to laugh or pity him. Karma finally got Thomas. Looking at Thomas's pitiful face, he resembled a drowned rat. The petty side of me wanted to leave him there, but the child of God in me wouldn't allow that. At least, I needed to make sure he was out of danger before leaving. He is still the father of my children. Then, the nurse brought me a paper of authorization to operate on him and remove the broken glass. They also asked for a down payment. When I saw the amount of money, bitterness filled me. All this time, he has been enjoying life with his mistresses and never cared about me or our children. Now they expect me to pay for his foolishness. I couldn't bear to part with such amount of money for someone that's not worth it. I grabbed my phone and called my mother-in-law. I narrated everything that had happened, including the hospital bill that is required. The foolish woman wanted to push the expenses back to me. He is your husband. You have to help him. When he gets well, both of you can sort it out as family. Family? I sneered and vowed not to repeat the same mistake. I will never do such, so I replied her. Mama, if you want your son to still stay alive, you better find a way to send the money otherwise. I will leave him here in the hospital. The wife they got for him put him in this predicament. Why should I be the one to pay? Staying here with him is least I can do. Eventually, Thomas's younger brother sent the money. I paid and watched as Thomas was wheeled into the theatre. The next day, his family arrived at the hospital very early. My mother-in-law was visibly angry when she saw her son. Thomas' vocal cord was also affected. She kept on cussing Olivia. I pretended I wasn't in the room. It is their problem and not mine. Since they have arrived, I excused myself and went home for a shower. When I came home, I saw Duke lying on the couch while holding Olivia's last child, who is 7 months old, to his chest. I had even forgotten there were little children in the house. I marveled at the heart of children. How innocent and pure they are. I watched them for a while before tapping on his shoulder quietly. He panicked as soon as he opened his eyes and saw that it was me. Mommy, the boy was crying throughout the night. We couldn't leave him like that, he hurriedly explained. I smiled and assured him that everything is all right. Mommy, are you not angry? Duke asked me, expecting me to scold him. Why would I be? I answered him. They are your stepbrothers. Even though we don't like their mommy, they are innocent. He relaxed a bit and asked, What about Dad? How is he and what happened to him? Your dad met with an accident, but he's out of danger now. Your grandma and the others are there with him now. I answered him while omitting the exact reason Thomas was at the hospital.